Well, you did some videos on the whole David situation with the underage girl that was found dead in his Tesla. I feel like that story just hasn't been updated at all. Is it a dead case?
So, I follow a whole bunch of different Reddit communities that follow David, and what's interesting is since this started, like, there's been a lot of these Reddit communities kind of popping up and then getting shut down or going dormant. Everybody right now has been posting on these Reddit communities, is there an update? There's been no updates. There's nothing new for weeks. It's been absolutely silent, okay? And I feel like in the first few weeks after it happened, there was like a huge flurry of information. I probably did like over 10 videos, just all the different things that everyone was looking into. And at a certain point, it seemed to go super quiet. Apparently, I'm hearing, they're saying on Reddit, I don't know how true this is, but they're saying that maybe the toxicology report might be available in the next couple of weeks. And then that might lead to an update. But things have gone super quiet. And it's, a lot of people are asking that question of why hasn't David been arrested, because it seems so likely, so plausible for things to point towards him doing it. But realistically, and I think you said this too, if they had evidence that he killed that girl, he would have been arrested.
100%.
So clearly they don't have evidence that he did that.
100%. A judge signing off on that? I mean, it's not like they're convicting him. They could put together a grand jury and say, listen, we think that he killed her because here's all the reasons. Clearly, they don't have the reasons. They don't have the proof. The fact that you know someone and they're underage, that definitely could be problematic, and it definitely could be illegal. But to then jump to you murdering that person, it could have been anything. It could have been, listen, he's messing with this underage girl and she's like, I'm gonna go on the shade room and I'm gonna expose you and your career is gonna be ruined. And someone who's completely relying on David for all their income is like, I gotta handle this problem or else I'm out of work.
Do you not feel like that's a little bit more far-fetched than the guy who's actually on the hook for dating an underage girl doing it though?
But there's no police arrest.
No, but there's also, it's like, I agree with you.
There's no police. It's his car. It's his car. He knows her. There's videos of them together. Mm-hmm. She's underage. There's a lot to point to arresting this person and figuring it out later. Mm-hmm. Seriously, why not?
I agree with you. I think everybody's super confused now.
Because let me just interrupt you real quick. The police even said this is a very complicated case. Mm-hmm. So they're saying we're struggling with this.
I'm not going to lie, man. The dead body in the trunk, leave it there for a few months. That might be the new method. Like, I guess you hide the body, you conceal the body in a place where it's not going to be touched for a period of time. It decomposes in a way that's making it very difficult. They can't seem to prove how she died, where she died, when she died. If they can't get to the bottom of this, like, I don't know. I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more bodies being found in trunks at tow yards because I was under the belief, call me crazy.
Wait, was that a tow yard or on the street? I thought it was on the street.
No, it got towed from the street and then they discovered the smell in the tow yard.
Yeah, okay, got it.
I was under the impression, bro, that if someone found a body in my car parked outside right now, I'm going to jail. I'm not going home. Like, I was under the impression that, like, I don't go home and chill and go back to playing Fortnite until y'all straighten that out. But apparently that's not the case. And that's why I'm saying this is the new method. Because it's like, now it's like this. I didn't know that there was a loophole that if the body's just left in the car for a period of time, they can't do anything about it. But I guess they can't prove where she died. They can't prove when she died. They can't even prove how she got into that trunk.
She wasn't pregnant.
She wasn't pregnant. That's
what the theory was. Oh, okay, he got her pregnant and he had to kill her, or else I'm going to prison for 30 years for statutory rape. But
it's weird how, like, it seems like if she was pregnant, it seems like everyone would just be like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. Then he would have killed her to get rid of the baby. But it's like, she don't need to be pregnant for, it's like, yo, if you're really in a relationship with a 14-year-old that you allegedly met when she was like 11, don't need to be pregnant for you to want to get rid of that problem. So but totally agree with you. For the record, I think the LAPD, if they had something, they would have swooped in. I think the new theory that's going around now is that there was a group of people that were involved in this. There's just a theory. This is not even my opinion. This is just theories that I've been seeing, so I'm not even vouching for this. But there's new theories going around that there's basically like 2 or 3 guys in his circle that kind of maybe had something to do with this, and that they kind of all knew what was going on, and certain people were moving the car, and there's I think there's a rumor that there's some surveillance footage of the car being moved and somebody else being in the car and the car's being driven around with all the windows down or something. So there's like a few different things that have come out, and there's this private investigator, I think he's called Steve Fisher, who basically, he was kind of one of the first people to kind of comment on this as a private investigator. He's apparently been retained by the owner of the rented property.
Oh yeah,
the car was found
this,
outside.
Yeah.
And so he's now put out a few interesting things where he's basically, some people are saying that he's clout chasing. Other people are saying that, nah, he's one of the only people really trying to get to the bottom of this now. But he basically put a very cryptic message out recently to say he basically recovered items from the property that were left behind by the LAPD, and that he described it as I think he described it as sadistic items. And now there's been all this debate about what these items are. There'd been reports, people were saying it was farming equipment. He's denied that. But basically what seems to be hinted at is Steve seems to be suggesting that there were items at the property that could have been used to get rid of or destroy a body. And I think the angle that he was putting out there, I believe, if I remember correctly, was that basically he was suggesting that it could have been a plan to get rid of the body, but they didn't have time to do it before this tour started, and then the body got found in the car. But bro, like, something has to happen. We can't. The LAPD can't just be like, oh well, like someone's got to, bro. Like, you have a 14-year-old kid dead. Like something, bro. Someone's got to do something.
Well, you could say that, but then Draco the Ruler was killed in a backstage at a concert with what seemed like dozens and dozens of people
on camera,
and cold case. So it happens.
I do have this feeling recently, though, because I feel like there's been a lot of situations like that, but I feel like what's happening more and more is it's like, especially with all this digital evidence, like the wheels of justice move very slowly, but they do move, and it's like, I feel like, I mean, even the Dirk thing, Dirk was running around like he got away with it for like 2 years, and then murder for hire charges, and like a lot of people were like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but it's like, a lot of people did see that coming. You know, the FBG Duck situation, all of those guys, Moowop, all of them were all making songs dissing him for like, what, a year and a half, thinking like, we good, like, nothing's happening to us. We're good. Like we're just living our lives. So I do feel like on a long enough timeline, I sure hope that this gets solved. Even if it wasn't David, if they haven't got, you know what I'm saying? Just as an outsider, it looks very bad for him. And
yeah, he canceled his tour, obviously.
Canceled his tour, moved house.
Yeah.
Left the city.
Yeah, I think put like his house in his mom's name, like hired a lawyer.
Gone quiet, quit his own subreddit.
Yeah.
All type of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like the David thing is just going back. Like, I did a long video where I basically deep dived all of his music catalog because I wasn't that familiar with him. I definitely heard the name and seen a couple of songs, but like I digged into his whole catalog before, and I just felt like there was so much sick, twisted imagery in his music that, at least as somebody that just is like quite adept at analyzing music and art, there was so much stuff in there that just seemed twisted. Like, he's got this whole thing of white roses and blood stains on white roses. Now, white roses, you know, white wedding dress, like all that shit, you know what that symbolizes, you know, purity, virginity, all this weird stuff, blood splattered on a white rose. I saw all of that and I was just like, bro, this guy's twisted. That's not proof of anything.
Well,
Completely
I mean, his
agree.
biggest song is Romantic Homicide, so, you know, there's that. But that doesn't mean you're guilty.
And he got one lyric where he's like, save your tears 7 years. And like, at the time, she would have been 11. And that would have been the year they met.
Okay, that's...
Bro, this is what I'm saying. I looked at all this stuff and I'm like, yo, like, no one's been arrested over this? Like, really? Like...
I mean, listen, you and I have had these conversations. And, you know, like, for example, when you got into it with Whack, you know, you and I had to talk, and you're like, oh, and Whack did this, and Whack did that. And I'm like, nope, didn't do that. Nope, didn't do that. Nope, I know the real story behind that. That never happened. And so there's lots of stuff out there where it looks good on the internet. There's all types of Reddit conversations. It's big on, you know, TikTok and whatever. There's popular videos. Doesn't mean any of it's true.
I agree.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't, because I know a lot of these people, and I actually could have conversations with them and have conversations with people around them, and you see how much nonsense gets out there. You know, like, you know, this is why I had to jump on the whole Glasses Malone situation, because like it was just a false story. It was like saying that that my girl, I caught my girl cheating and I want to kill the guy. I was like, that's just completely not how the story went. It was the exact opposite. I was with a girl and her ex-boyfriend attacked me. So it is just like, it's just not what happened. But the internet will run and create a whole a whole movie out of this shit, and people will run with it. So I don't know, man. At the end of the day, if David did it, I hope he goes to prison forever. And if he didn't do it, then hopefully he'll get vindicated.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like I just want to make it very clear. Like, I can't say right now on this date, David did the murder. I wouldn't say that. I can't say I definitely think that I can't say anything for definite, but it looks crazy.
It looks crazy.
Them lyrics look crazy. Their music videos look crazy. The tarpaulin with all the bloodstained shirts that he's got for his merch. Like, his merch is bloodstained white shirts. That looks crazy, bro.
Right.
That's like Lil Durk having some merch that's like, you know what I mean? Like a murder for hire contract or something. Like, what the hell? Like, science, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get your novelty Lil Durk murder for hire contract or something. I don't know. Just, it's unbelievable, but I feel like that's why these stories have picked up so much attention. That's why I think me covering the David story has been so big, because it's like, my whole thing is just like, I'm very good at research. I'm very good at finding these things that are crazy, that are hidden, that are deep. Like, I'm good at noticing things. Maybe sometimes I probably notice things too much. I probably read into certain things that maybe don't add up in the end. But like, I like to just, especially now that I'm doing my second channel, like, I feel like the big difference between my main channel and my second channel is like, my second channel is unscripted. It's basically you're joining me while I do the research, rather than I'm presenting the research that I did in a documentary. And so it's like, you know, a lot of people hate, they're like, all you do is read Reddit comments, but it's like, it's not all I do. But at the same time, it's like, that's what I'm doing on the second channel. It's kind of like, join me while I read this crazy David lyric that you're not going to believe. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but also it's like, bro, he said that, like, that's crazy. Let's sit together and read through this Dirk paperwork. Oh my God, can you believe what we're seeing here? So, you know, I feel like I'm trying to have the conversations that people will be having amongst themselves, as far as like, you know, oh my God, can you believe David said this? Can you believe this happened? I can't say 100% definitively sure that David did it, but I do want to find out. And that's really just, I think it'll be one of these things where it's like how you get this thing where it's like rappers snitched on themselves. I mean, last time I came here, I brought my Dirk files. I was telling you about that Loyal Bros album that came out a few months after the Dirk alleged murder for hire. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with the David case or the Dirk case, but it's one of those things where it's like, people might look back and say like, oh no, like, he was wilding. He really left all those clues. Or he might be there. And there might be a perfect other excuse for what happened that's crazy but true, and when that comes out, we're going to take that apart as well and work that out. I think in the David case, it's funny because it was a narrative that was spread quite early on that I didn't really want to believe, but now people are pushing it more and it's getting more traction that her family might have had something to do with it. When people first started saying that, I was like, I feel like it's mad disrespectful. Pointing the finger at the family is like super not right. But now the private investigator is putting it out there saying, well, it seems like some of her relatives maybe went to a concert with David and the girl, and maybe it was all okay. This is allegedly what other people are saying.
Well, she had a bad family situation. I heard about that. Like, there was I guess the police were called multiple times to her home with her mom or dad or both or whatever. So this was not your typical teenage girl who comes from a stable background. I think she was like a runaway and so forth. So there's a lot going on here. It could have been a homeless person. It could have really been a lot of different things. But ultimately, I hope they solve it, and I hope she gets justice.
For sure, man.
I've been saying that.
Justice for Celeste, man, for sure.